Hello, Facebook fans and YouTube fans of DX Engineering. It's Friday afternoon here in the Eastern Time Zone of the USA. It's June 18th, 2021, and it's time for the Weekend Special. Weekend Special is held every Friday at 20 Zulu, that's 20 GMT. And today we have a special guest. It's Fred, AB1OC. Hello, Fred.
Hello, Tim. Good to see you, and glad to be on the show here today.
Well, it's great to have you. And we have viewers from all over the world, and they'll be in the chat room there under the comments area. And if they have any questions for you, Fred, I'll make sure that I bring those to you. Fred, everybody's talking about Field Day. It's, the calls that we get, the emails we get are all about Field Day right now, and everybody is really excited. And you're associated with a great club. In fact, you're president. Tell us about your Field Day operation.
All righty, Tim. Well, I don't believe it with all this COVID stuff. I've ever seen such a terrible case of cabin fever. We've all got it. And we're going to be doing an in-person Field Day for the first time since the whole COVID situation hit. I have a little presentation here, Tim. If it's okay with you, I'll share that and step through it here, and maybe we can have a little fun with this.
That sounds great.
Okay, let me see if I can make everything play well here together. Hopefully, there we go. All righty, good. Can you all see that all right?
Yes.
All right, great. So I'm associated with the Nashua Radio Society. We have a long history of Field Day. Our QSL card here has some pictures from Field Day past. We've done some pretty big ones. I guess our largest ever was back in the 80s. We did a 26 Alpha Field Day when that was still legal. And we have quite a kit of towers and antennas and gear to do this. So, I'd like to start out and just tell you a little bit about our group. We reformed ourselves about 5 or 6 years ago and dedicated our club to bringing new people into amateur radio, STEM and general learning through amateur radio, licensing, and just helping hams to improve their operating skills. So everything that we do, including our Field Day operations now, are all centered around this basic mission. And for us, Field Day is a learning and mentoring opportunity. That's pretty much how we treat it. As I mentioned, we've done some pretty big Field Days. Here's some pictures of our most recent pre-COVID Field Day. This was a 13 Alpha affair. We had 4 towers up. We were QRV on all the bands from 160 meters up through 70 centimeters. And we do some pretty high-tech stuff, including things with software-defined radios and so on. Now, these were tent-based operations. And we decided that probably wasn't quite safe to put everybody in tents just yet. So we're taking a little different approach to our Field Day in this June. And as I said, Field Day is a learning and mentoring experience for us. We very much encourage our members and the folks who visit us to try new things and to learn new things. We're going to be a 4 Alpha Field Day, all state-of-the-art equipment, 7300s, except for our satellite station, which will be a 9700. Our radios will be all mode, including digital, and we're going to have a satellite station and some fox hunting, message passing, and particularly about 60% of our club, which has about 480 members in it, are licensed less than 3 years. And so these are folks who are coming out to Field Day to work with our gear and our equipment to learn how to do stuff. A lot of them are just in the process of building their first stations. And I think, with all the gear that we have and quite a few experienced hams that are willing to train and help people, it's a pretty unique opportunity for folks to learn and to develop their skills. So this is our specific plans. Of course, everybody knows the dates for Field Day. For anyone that's local here to the New England area, come visit us at Keys Memorial Park in Milford, New Hampshire. This is a public park where we're going to be operating. As I said, we're going to have 3 HF stations, a 6-meter station, plus our free VHF station will be the 2-meter, 70-centimeter satellite station. We're going to be putting up a tower with a tri-bander and wires. something special for 6 meters, which I'll show you, and the satellite station. And we've kind of taken a social distancing approach. You can see from the picture of QST here that ran earlier this month. This is our field day site. It's an open air pavilion. It's sheltered, but it's large enough that we can separate our stations and have air going through, so we kind of get the best of a shelter as well as a COVID-safe outdoor environment. This shows the layout of our station and another picture of that pavilion. We also have done winter field day here for the last few years. And in the wintertime, we actually fence this in with tarps and heat it, which you sort of need to do in New England in January if you're going to be out and doing field day. We'll be on generator power, and you can see how we're going to lay this thing out for COVID safety here. Our stations this time are going to be all mode. Now, when we do bigger field days, we usually do 3 or 4 stations for each mode. So we'll have 3 or 4 sideband stations, 3 or 4 digital stations, 3 or 4 CW stations. We'll usually have 6 meter. We'll have a multi-band 2 meter and up deal, and then we'll have a satellite station. Because of COVID and the need to socially distance and get out of the tents, we're going to do a little smaller deal with just a 4 alpha setup. Our stations will all be 100 watts, and they'll all be combination mode stations. So you'll be able to sit down and do sideband, CW, or digital, or even switch between the 3 of them while you're operating. We're going to run N1MM as our logging system. We're going to run it in network mode. So those folks who want to practice a little contesting with that logger will have all of those capabilities there. For COVID safety, we're asking sideband and CW operators to bring their own headsets, so we're not passing those sorts of things around where there might be some risk of infection. We will be using our club call sign, N1FD, as we like to think of it, #1 field day. That call sign has been with this club for a very, very long time, and it also makes us easy to pick out on the air. And all of our stations will have laptop computers with an outboard monitor. You can see an example of one of them in the upper right, which will make for a pretty state-of-the-art operating environment, I think, for our folks. A little bit on the antenna system. Our group was very active in WRTC when it was held up here in the Boston area a few years back. And as a result of all the work that we did to support it, we were able to purchase a number of the falling derrick towers that were used in WRTC. And in fact, we use those for field day. And you can see a picture of one of our 40-foot towers here. We've actually scaled one of them up to a 60-foot falling derrick, which is quite a project to erect. We'll have a tri-band Yagi, which will give us 10, 15, and 20 meters, and a pair of wire antennas on sidearms, inverted Vs for 40 and 80 meters. And these are great for field day. We pretty much assemble everything on the ground, feed lines and all, and then we simply stand the whole assembly up with a winch. We get lots of questions about how do you operate so many transmitters together, and there's a lot of different ways of doing this. It's pretty easy with a single tower setup like this. We just simply use a triplexer and bandpass filters. The triplexer splits the utilization of the Yagi on the tower. And we also use filters for our 40 and 80 meter antennas to protect the stations from interfering with each other. And at a 100-watt level, this whole setup works quite well. When we do our bigger field days, we actually have 3 sets of these, one for sideband, one for CW, and one for digital. But for this particular field day, we're going to just use one set in an all-mode configuration. We like to bring things to field day that are not so common for folks so that they can try them out. And especially given the large number of new people that are in our club, we like to make sure our focus includes the stuff that technicians can do. We always have a 6-meter station, and this year we're actually going to be trying out a new antenna. It's a 3-element loop-fed array. We're getting ready to do a whole bunch of mountaintop activations out here in New England in the fall, and so we decided to bring the same portable setup we use for mountaintopping out, which is a 25-foot push-up mast that we guy. Put our LFA on it, and again, you can see a picture of us testing that station at my home in New Hampshire there on my kitchen table. And again, it's set up for all the modes, sideband, CW, and digital. And some of the early testing with this particular antenna has been very, very encouraging. We're able to work Europe with 100 watts with it pretty easily. Now we're having a tremendous 6-meter station, or I'm sorry, tremendous 6-meter opening for our 6-meter stations right now. And so it's not surprising that we were able to do that, but we were also able to do a little bit of 6-meter meteor scatter with the setup. Maybe not so many meteors during field day, but we're going to be trying that mode out as well. And again, this will be a wonderful opportunity for folks, particularly our technician licensees, to get on and operate our field day station and get on the Magic Band. Another thing that we've been doing for the last several field days is a computer-controlled satellite station. Now, our club has helped a couple schools in the area here make contacts through the ARIS program with the International Space Station. I'm actually a mentor and a ground station now as part of that program. So we have some pretty decent portable setups that are useful for working the space station and satellites. And we're going to bring one of those out to field day. You can see a picture of the antennas on the lower right and the setup on my kitchen table again on the left. Now, the rules for field day only allow 1 FM easy satellite contact, but there's no limit on working linear satellites. And so with the computer, we're able to work all of the linear satellites. And according to the predictions, there should be about 30 good satellite passes that we can use over the 24-hour period. Again, a great opportunity for new hams to experience something they can do with their technician license, making contacts through satellites in space. And for this field day, we're going to kind of treat this a little bit like our go-to station. I think when a new person comes to field day and they're just trying to learn about amateur radio, sitting down with them in front of a satellite station and letting them talk to another ham through a satellite in space kind of puts a really nice high-tech modern feel on amateur radio, which is what we want to do. It also is a great opportunity for our regular members to learn a new skill in amateur radio and try something out. Okay. As I mentioned, we network all of our computers together at field day. And using N1MM, we can do stuff like, share log data when we work the same stations over on different bands or modes. We can do passes where, we encourage the station to contact us on a different frequency. And another cool thing about doing this is that we will typically have a computer set up at our public information table where folks can come and watch all the QSOs going in the log across the site and see what our score is and that sort of thing. We also use this setup to get a field day legal clock for our FT8, FT4, and Meteor Scatter digital stations. As we all know, it's really not in the spirit of field day and probably not in the rules either to use the internet to set your clocks, and there's a lot of different sources to do that. Our network actually has a GPS disciplined off-the-grid clock source that is available on the network for all the computers at field day to use to synchronize their clocks. So that's kind of a high-tech kind of element to our field day that's maybe just a little bit unusual. It takes quite a few people to do a field day like this. And we've always been very fortunate that our team, club members have been willing to step up and support all of this work. Many of the folks on this list of our field day setup and sort of activity teams are new hams. Many of them are doing this for the first time. And in the spirit of how we operate with training new hams, we've done training sessions with all these people on how the station goes together, how to handle the towers safely, how to put beams together, and so on. And we also do a technical training program called Tech Night, which was made available to all of our members so that they could learn how to operate our setup at field day, including the satellites and 6 meters and all the rest. So as you can probably tell, a big theme of our field day operation is mentoring and helping new folks. I have a video here from some TV coverage that happened at our last big in-person field day that I'd like to play for you all to give you an example of what field day mentoring is like. And particularly, this is a great way to represent amateur radio to the general public. WMUR is a regional TV station here in the Massachusetts and New Hampshire area. So let's see what they had to say about Field Day.
While practicing for a possible emergency.
Next at 6, how these amateur radio operators are getting ready for any disaster.
Amateur radio operators across the country and Canada set up radio equipment this weekend for an event called Field Day.
And while it is a contest, it's also a chance for operators to practice their emergency response capabilities so they're ready to provide communications if a disaster strikes. Dozens took part at Hudson Memorial School, working completely off the grid, simulating a real emergency.
What we've taught some of the kids in the school here about is how you actually track and talk and do communications through a satellite in space.
One of the main things we like to do is really further the education of STEM curriculum in local schools. This has been a partnership with the Hudson Middle School.
Trained some as young as 12 years old. That is incredible. Good for them.
And they actually started setting up yesterday. They went 24 hours. So in that kind of unsettled weather that we had, they were still going. So wow. Pretty impressive.
All right. So you can see that obviously if you can take this kind of approach to your field day, it puts the amateur radio service, I think, in a very positive light. Parents, students, and other folks that are potentially interested in amateur radio will see that amateur radio can provide a tremendous amount of learning and fun. We take this kind of one step further. We leverage all of our equipment to let new folks set our stations up. We give our new hams first shot at some of our top stations. We're going to have folks that have never operated in a field day before on our 20-meter sideband station when we kick off at 2 o'clock on Saturday. And one of the things we do that's a little unique is we have experienced ham on duty for the whole 24-hour period as field day coaches. And these folks will sit down with any operator, be it experienced or new. Maybe we have an experienced person that's trying something new like FT8 for the first time, and spend some time with them, make sure they know how to operate and that they have a good experience. So, by the way, we've been doing some pretty big field days this year, and we have been consistently scoring either the top or within the top 2 scores in our categories at 9 alpha, 10 alpha, 13 alpha field days. So this really hasn't held our score back in any significant way, I think, for those who worry about the score. And more importantly, we've gotten a lot of young hams and new hams excited about amateur radio in the process. So I have one last video that I'd like to share here. It's from our last big field day. This was a 13 alpha fair with those 4 towers. And I thought folks would enjoy this. So let's have a look. It does take a ton of people to do a big field day like this. Bob is our storage facility. It's our 40-meter antenna. right. So at any rate, that gives you an idea of what a large field day might be like. And, I hope that was fun for the viewers here. And maybe we can take a few questions here.
Now, Fred, that was great. And thank you so much for putting that together. Just a super, super class outfit. And thanks for all your leadership and Anita's leadership to contribute to the club and make that happen. And what a great face for amateur radio with all the media coverage, etc. If you have questions for Fred, you can put them in the chat. Let's see who we have in the chat here, Fred. We've got folks from all over the world. Victor Papa 2, Echo India Hotel, and we also have from Denmark, Oscar Zulu 1 Delta Whiskey X-Ray, and it's not even sunrise yet, but Victor Kilo 4 Fox Alpha Bravo Quebec is in. And from New Delhi, India, Victor Uniform 2, India Bravo. And our friend Dino, Kilo Lima 0 Sierra, WA4 Mike Oscar Mike says 73 from Fort Mitchell in Kentucky. And another informative live stream. And November Lima 7 Delta from Arizona. And India Tango 9, India Delta Golf, Kilo 4 Sierra X-Ray from Alaska. And let's see, from New Zealand, it's Zulu Lima 1, Mike Hotel Sugar. And Echo Alpha 1, Alpha Delta Papa from Spain is in. And let's see, November 5, Papa Juliet from Oklahoma City. And Victor 5-1, Yankee Juliet is in. And Whiskey 1, Juliet Germany Mike from Connecticut is also watching. So all right, lot of folks on here today from the United Kingdom. It's Mike 7 Mike Echo X-Ray, and in Florida, Whiskey 4 Papa Golf. Fred, there's an upcoming election at the ARL for directors, and wonder if you might be involved.
Yeah, the word is, I guess, been getting out. I am planning to make a run for the ARL New England Divisional Director here in New England. I've gotten a lot of encouragement from many of the folks on the ARL field staff here in the region to take some of the good mentoring work we've done and try to apply it more broadly across the ARL and with across clubs and the New England ARL field team here. So we'll be hopefully able to scale some of this work up.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And I wonder, you must be really tired after field day with that kind of a setup.
Well, it's a labor of love, Tim. It's when you see folks come out and especially experience their first field day ever and go away so enthusiastic and so on, you kind of feel like all that work, it's almost like I remember the first time I made a contact and somebody helped me at amateur radio at field day, and it was the most thrilling experience I ever had. When you do that for a group of new people, you get to have that same experience over and over again. And it's really, really special. Also, it's really fun to see hams become, go from just starting out at field day to become an experienced operator. One of the individuals there, Abby, AB1BY, earned her extra class license with us at 13 years old. And at that last big field day I showed, we were fortunate to have some of the best CW operators from a major contest station here in the world run our CW stations. And Abby got together with her brother and a few friends, and they decided they were going to have a little competition around FT8 digital. Now, Abby personally ran SO3R. She ran 3 stations almost all night long at field day, and she managed to match the score of 3 of the best CW operators in the world with FT8 digital, and they all had a great time going through that process. So it's really neat when you see things like that at field day, I think.
Yeah, it is really cool. Well, Fred, thanks very much for coming on today, and I know you'll be busy this weekend getting things ready, and of course next week we're actually going to have some STEM counselors on here on Tuesday and talk about, they did a satellite camp here a few weeks ago. So they're going to be on Tuesday. And then we have a manufacturer on Thursday. And then Friday, we're going to have Bart Yonke from the contest desk at ARL headquarters give us a last-minute field day primer on the rules. So it's going to be a busy week next week.
That sure sounds like it. Well, Tim, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. I hope I get a chance to work everybody here at Field Day and 73. And thanks for everything you do, Tim.
Thank you, Fred. And 73 from DX Engineering. We'll see you next week. Get on the air.
Bye-bye, everybody.